I want to run you through a few options and issues with power supply. At our Daiwa Service Centre, around 90% of the issues that we have with electric reels end up coming back to our power supply as being the problem. Now, whether or not you're using a battery pack like that, which is a portable pack, it can be attached to your belt, you can run around the boat with it if you wish, or if you're using a proper deep cycle 12-volt battery, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't make a difference. It's safe to use either, but you do need to be very careful that you don't use more than 12-volt power supply. And if you do, the reel has an inbuilt cutout. It'll sound an alarm, a continuous alarm bell, to warn you to remove that power supply before any further damage takes place. Power supply lead that comes with your Daiwa electric reel uses a carbon core. It's an exceptionally good conductor, however it doesn't like abuse. It doesn't like being crushed, trod on, stretched, tied in knots, etc. And a lot of the issues come down to the cord either corroding or being damaged somewhere along the line. We do not recommend cutting your cord and using different types of terminals. However, if that is done properly, it can be quite safe and very good if you have a permanent power supply built into your boat. But as I said, we don't really recommend it. You're better off to use the terminals that are supplied with it and look after your cables. Store them away neatly, make sure that there's no salt or residue water left on them, and they should last you quite a long while. The power supply connection is around the rear of the reel here underneath. It does have a dust cover for when you're not using it. So if I plug that in now, half our job's done. In this situation, I'm going to use our little battery supply pack, and you can see the red and black terminals indicating the positive and negative, and of course you just colour code those up. When I connect those, doesn't matter what particular order you do it in, I will actually get a power supply show up on my screen, providing my battery is charged. Battery charge, of course, is the most critical thing. Using smaller batteries like motorcycle batteries or even standard automotive 12-volt batteries can give you some issues for two reasons. One is current draw. A reel like this can draw up to 30 amps, and with a small motorcycle battery, that can drain that battery in a matter of minutes. Secondly, with a car battery compared to a deep cycle marine battery, although they do have the same voltage and even a higher amperage capability, the car battery will drop its charge very, very quickly in a short space of time. It'll work well for an hour, 2 hours, maybe 4 hours, but when that charge drops, it'll fall straight off the perch to nothing, and you might have 400 metres of line out there that you're now going to have to manually wind back. A deep cycle battery will lose its charge far more gradually, and you will sense that as you'll sense the power starting to drop on the reel, and you will get a voltage indicator come up on that reel when that voltage drops below 8 volts or 8.5 volts. It'll come up on your screen indicating that you've got a low power supply and it's time to change batteries or recharge your battery, whatever that might be at the time. One last tip I want to give you in regard to your power supply. When you very first plug in your electric reel, you'll notice on the screen that it actually does a countdown from 10 to 0. You'll get an audible beep and the power will come on. Now what that's doing is essentially resetting the computer as that power supply is connected. If you do run out of power from a battery, whether it be a mobile pack or a deep cycle that's on the floor of the boat, throughout your fishing day, the computer actually has a 15-minute memory within it. So you have around 15 minutes to change battery power supplies without losing any of your pre-programmed functions within that computer. So when you plug in your fresh battery, you won't get the countdown on the screen, and what that's saying is the computer remembers the settings you had programmed in there, and you don't have to reprogram it all just because you've changed your battery. If you do get the countdown, unfortunately that means that you're going to have to go back to the beginning and do it all.